Alright, so I ran out of time. These videos can only be 15 minutes each. So sometimes I get cut off. But the point was, as Montag is on the subway, he keeps trying to memorize the section of the speech from the New Testament about consider the lilies of the field, that they toil not, neither do they spin, etc. But as he's going, super loud and bombarding him all the time is the announcements on the subway of advertising. So notice the people who had been sitting a moment before tapping their feet to the rhythm, denim dentifrice, denim sandy dental detergent, whatever the little jingle song is. I just made that up. Hope you like it. Okay, it's constant advertising bombarding them everywhere you look. So speed, super fast, subways, driving, short bursts of media, and he can't focus. He's trying to read the lilies of the field, and he's hearing denim's dentifrice and starts going crazy. All right, so eventually people notice he's kind of whacked out. And he's got a book, and they try to call the guards, and he jumps off and gets off the bus. And as he goes off the train, he even hears the advertising continuing as he runs away. And notice the train hissed like a snake. So again, that negative nature imagery connected to the technology of the train. We're just going to look at some things as he gets to Faber's house and some of the things that are discussed there. So he gets to Faber. Faber's worried, thinks he's in trouble maybe, and that's why Montag has come. Montag explains, like, no, I came by myself, don't worry. And he brings a book with him, the Bible, and he shows Faber. Faber says, the book, where did you? And he says, I stole it. And Faber gives us a little background in his remembrance of the Bible. It's as good as I remember. Lord, how they've changed it. In our parlors these days, Christ is one of the family now. I often wonder if God recognizes his own son the way they've dressed him up, or is it dressed him down? He's a regular peppermint stick now, all sugar crystal and saccharine. So religion is permitted. It's on TV, but it's totally distorted. They turned it into a commodity. They even have Jesus on their TV show, but totally distorted, watered down garbage. That isn't when he's making veiled references to certain commercial products that every worshiper absolutely needs. So even in the TV show, they have the Jesus figure advertising to the believers. Just going to point out a few things here. So moving down to page 79. Faber begins to teach Montag about the nature of what's important in the books themselves. And he says, there's nothing magical in books them as just a book, okay? So in terms of the medium, it's not the medium that makes it magical. The magic is only in what books say, how they stitched the patches of the universe together into one garment for us. Of course, you couldn't know this. Of course, you still can't understand what I mean when I tell you all this. You are intuitively right. That's what counts. 3 things are missing. So Montag knows there's something special about books for some reason. And Faber's trying to teach him. It's not like just the physical paper that matters, but it's the meaning, which he talked about before. Now he gives 3 key things that define why books are so important. Number 1, do you know why books such as this are important? Because they have quality. And what does the word quality mean? To me, it means texture. The books have pores, it has features. The book can go under the microscope. You'd find life under the glass streaming past in infinite profusion. The more pores, the more truthfully recorded details of life per square inch you can get on a sheet of paper, the more literary you are. That's my definition anyway. Telling detail, fresh detail. The good writers touch life often. The mediocre ones run a quick hand over her. The bad ones rape her and leave her for the flies. So the first thing why they're important is quality of information. Okay, quality of information. And just moving down, the second thing that you need, after the quality of information, that's not enough. Second thing you need is leisure or leisure to process and to think about the information. So, okay, you have a book which is rich in how it portrays reality and life, grapples with issues of human nature. That's not enough. You need time now. You need time to think about it. Free time. Now, Montag says, but we've got plenty of off hours. They've got free time not working. But Faber is going to define that differently. He says, but time to think. Do you have time to think? Why can't they think? Well, he couldn't even memorize a single line on the subway because he was being bombarded with constant loud advertising. If you're not driving 100 miles per hour at a clip where you can't think of anything else but the danger, then you're playing some game or sitting in some room where you can't argue with the 4-wall televisor. Why? Televisor is, quote unquote, real. It is immediate. It has dimension. It tells you what to think and blasts it in. It must be right. It seems so right. It rushes on you so quickly, its own conclusions. Your mind hasn't time to protest. What nonsense. So you need leisure, which is quiet time. You need some quiet to consider. You need to meditate. Now, meditate doesn't mean like yoga meditation. It means to chew on something. To chew like a dog on a bone. That's the original meaning of the word meditate. Gnawing on something, turning it over in your mind. Okay, so that's what's wrong with the whole situation. They can't think. And then finally, the third necessary thing. So number 1 was quality of information. Number 2, leisure to digest it. Digest, to think about it, to chew on it, turn it over in your mind. And number 3, the right to carry out actions based on what we learn. So number 3 is the right to act. Freedom to act. So the right to act on what we learn from the interaction of the first two. So you get some quality information, you think about it, you go away, you take time, you mull it over. Now you decide, what should I do with that? And I hardly think a very old man and a fireman turned sour could do much this late in the game. Montag wants to change the society. Montag wants to save the society and save the books. So they start to try to formulate a plan, like, what are we going to do? How can we preserve these books? How can we get the leisure to digest quality information? And then how can we have the right to act on it if the government is hounding us with a mechanical hound that's going to kill people and burning their houses down, right? So Faber begins to think, okay, you can get books. Now, that's not good enough. We might get a press and print some. So maybe start their own printing press. That's one idea. But if that's the case, it's too slow. How are they going to spread the books? People can't even interpret the books because they don't know how to think anymore. So Faber doesn't see the printing press necessarily as the best way. He gives a different option. Not if you start talking the sort of talk that might get me burnt from my trouble. The only way I could possibly listen to you would be if somehow the fireman structure itself could be burnt. Now, if you suggest that we print extra books and arrange to have them hidden in firemen's houses all over the country so that seeds of suspicion would be sown among these arsonists, bravo, I'd say. So Faber's idea is what we call a coup d'etat. So a secret overthrow of the fireman organization by planting books as a way of sabotaging them. And so then if it was found out that, the fire chief and all these other firemen had secretly stashed books away in their homes, they might be able to make their reputation bad in the public eye and bring disrepute to the whole fireman structure. Remember, they are a military task force in this dystopian society. They have the Hound, which is a powerful technology that kills people, and they've got their fire equipment that burns down houses, right? So Faber wants to take out the whole structure of the whole thing. Plant the books, turn in the alarm, and see the firemen's houses burn. Is that what you mean? And then Faber says, I was joking. Montag's like, if you thought it would be a plan worth trying, I'd have to take your word it would help. So Montag doesn't know. He's come to Faber for guidance here. All right. So they don't know exactly what to do. I'm just going to point out a couple other quick things. Faber says the whole culture is shot through. The skeleton needs melting and reshaping. This is going to lead us to the phoenix image that is important symbolism later on. He's suggesting burn it all down, the whole culture, the whole society, and then it will be reborn like the phoenix bird.